you mentioned you're a cop, and we kind of talked about this a little bit ahead of time that this is kind of a relatively new thing for you. When did you decide that you wanted to pursue that path? And I know it's not, I guess, stereotypical for ladies first of all to become cops and whatnot, but we can get into all the stereotype stuff later. When did you decide that this is a path you wanted to pursue?
Competing in the Patriot Games.
Really?
Um, yeah, so it opened my doors and just changed my life entirely. The original owners, Anthony and Allison Tesaro, awesome, amazing people. They're both in law enforcement. And just seeing their view on people and the way they treated others, that was something that I didn't really see too often in the field I wanted to get into. And I'll backtrack into that in a second. But just the kind of love and community that they created, I was like, man, like I know that's not all cops, but that's them, and they're showing me that that's what it can be. And I really gravitated toward them and found myself inspired by them. And lo and behold, they ended up asking us to purchase their company. And that was like an awesome blessing in itself. But I think I'll start with where I was actually supposed to be, or where I thought I was supposed to be. I went to Florida Atlantic University. I got my bachelor's in biology. I was pre med. I wanted to be a doctor. By the time of the end of those 4 years, I was like, I am done with that. I have no interest in going to med school. Maybe I'll become a PA or a nurse practitioner. Reference, I am Indian, like from India, from Asian, yeah. You have a few options, especially I'm first generation here. My parents were born in the Caribbean. Their parents are from India. I have a couple options: lawyer, doctor, engineer, and you probably hear that all the time. It's just the way it is. Your parents push you towards those higher paying, highly respected fields that are on the safer end. Law enforcement, firefighter, none of those things are ever talked about or even an option to you. So by the time I was done with my 4 years, I, said, okay, I'll try PA, whatever. And at that time, I already started getting into competitive shooting and doing CrossFit. And then I found the Patriot Games, started competing in that. And honestly, after the pandemic and all that, I was just kind of pushed away from medicine and all. And I'm like, damn, I really can't see myself doing that. The way we kind of have no control in healthcare over how we treat people because there is an agenda, unfortunately, right? Because I heard doctors, I had a doctor in the family who quit because he's like, I can't treat people in a way that's going to help them. I have to treat them based on what's going to pay the hospital. And that didn't sit well with me. And I was actually applying to a program, and they told me, uh, yeah, everything looks great. You're accepted, but you need to get the vaccine, the coronavirus vaccine. Nothing against anybody who does it. I didn't want it. I don't have kids yet. I'd like to. I'm not willing to risk my fertility and even the slightest chance or unknown that it can affect that. I'm not willing to risk that. Being a mother is probably one of the most important things that I hope to achieve in the near future. And I wasn't willing to risk that. And I kind of smiled when she said that. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. And I just walked out of that room. And I called my mom, and I knew this was my chance. This was my chance to get my Indian parents' approval, and they're like, go for what you want to go for, because I mentioned law enforcement to them and got screamed at for a long period of time. You went to school for this. You can't do that. Why would you do that? It's so dangerous. As expected, I called her.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, there is no room for me in the medical field. And I explained to her, and she said, okay, go do what you have to do. And I began applying and going through the process. And so far, I am officially a rookie cop off of field training, and it is the best decision I could have made career wise. It's a very rewarding job. Every interaction you have with the community, you kind of decide how that goes. Not always, but for the most part. And I couldn't be happier with it. And again, I'm Indian. I that's not, and race isn't a big thing, but it is in terms of culture, like what we're kind of brought into. And I feel like I kind of opened the door for a lot of people in my family who, like my brother wants to be a firefighter. He's so excited. He's like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for firefighter. We have like a 9-year age difference. And my younger cousins, nieces, all of them can look at that and be like, all right, like she did it, I can do it. I don't have to be a doctor. I can go for something as a first responder. I can try the hard thing like that. So that was cool for me.
That is really awesome to hear you say that it actually opened some opportunity, if you will, for your other family members to not kind of get pigeonholed into you have to get these really great high paying jobs that have a lot of prestige. Like I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome because yes, being first, second, or third generation away from the motherland of India, and then obviously you grew up, your parents grew up on the island, first generation on the mainland, and it's like, okay, there's expectations, and we're gonna at least have a secure future, right?
Yeah.
But you're not that kind of girl. Like you're a risk taker. You're the type of person who's like, let's buy a business that could go under in like 6 months, right? Like that's just the reality. Like, yeah, people want to do it, but they could just as easily go do the tactical games. Like, let's be real. And
Yeah.
also, let's go do a job where I might get shot at. I might have to do the shooting. Like it could get crazy, and I'm down for it. Like I don't like just reality. I don't think I've ever met another Indian girl in the firearm space. Period. So kudos to you for jumping in and doing what you want to do. It's something out of a movie where it's like, Mom, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I'm gonna chase my dreams, and I love him, you know. But like I'm making a joke, but it's so real and it's inspiring because there's a lot of people who are afraid of their parents, especially Caribbean parents, especially Asian parents and whatnot. And it's like, man, she really did it. She really did it.
There's such fans about it and so supportive about it now. And my mom even says, she goes, I couldn't see you doing anything else. She was like, you love it. You love that. She was like, and as much as I want to be worried about you,
Mm,
no, you're fine. I know you're fine.
yeah. So I don't want to spend the entire time talking about how being a brown girl is just so hard and now you're a cop. But it's just really cool. I just want to just take a moment and appreciate that you kind of forged your own path and did something way different. And like we said earlier, open the door for other family members to do different stuff.